We found 6 cheap SUVs that are just waiting on used lots at this moment to be picked up by maybe you. A lot of people throw away their hard-earned savings on popular brands like Audi or Mercedes. But what if I told you that we found 6 challengers of these premium luxury brands that won't burn a hole in your wallet? Number 6. Lincoln MKX. Now bear with me for a moment, because this is the quiet luxury SUV buyers keep skipping, and that is exactly why the MKX is a goldmine today. The badge cooled off, the market moved on, and shoppers started chasing hotter names. But the 2013 to 2015 MKX still gives you old-school comfort with a drivetrain that just makes sense. The best pick is the 2015 setup, a 3.7-liter V6, a 6-speed automatic, and available all-wheel drive, which is the kind of simple hardware we trust when the goal is cheap miles without constant stress. Fuel economy on the common all-wheel drive version lands around 17 city and 23 highway. So, no, it is not a fuel miser. But that is not why this SUV wins. It wins because clean used examples can sit around $8,000 to $11,000, which is crazy low for a leather-lined mid-size luxury crossover that originally started above $40,000. In the garage, this is the SUV for the guy who wants a plush seat, a silent highway ride, and enough room to make daily life easier. But he does not care if the badge impresses the coffee shop crowd. That is the whole value story. The same money can land you an older Lexus RX or Acura MDX, with more buyers fighting over them, while the Lincoln sits because the name lost heat, not because the basic recipe went bad. That means the discount comes from perception, not from some automatic disaster hiding under the hood. It is better for comfort, easy cruising, and value hunters who do not mind a softer image. It is a smart play for buyers who want leather, power, and room without paying luxury badge taxes. It is not the pick if you want top-shelf fuel economy, or if you panic over older infotainment quirks. Make sure my Lincoln Touch responds without freezing, because slow tech gets annoying. Check brake feel for soft travel or vibration, because neglect turns cheaper into costly. Look under it for oil seepage or PTU area leaks, because small drips become painful later. Then take a full warm drive and make sure the 3.7 feels smooth, steady, and clean, with no surging. If this old-school luxury angle makes sense, the next SUV does the exact opposite. It has a strong Toyota name, a reliable hybrid system, and buyers still forget it exists. But before we dive in, make sure to subscribe to our channel. Number 5. Toyota Venza Hybrid. This is the RAV4 hybrid in a tuxedo, and buyers keep ignoring it for one dumb reason. They remember the RAV4, they trust the badge, and they forget Toyota also built this quieter, smoother, more upscale version with almost the same heart. The 2021 Venza uses Toyota's 2.5-liter hybrid setup with an electronically controlled transmission and standard all-wheel drive. And that matters because you get the kind of proven hybrid reputation people brag about in a RAV4, but wrapped in something that feels more silent and more expensive on the road. Fuel economy is the knockout punch, around 39 miles per gallon combined, with a 14.5-gallon tank, so weekly gas stops get cut hard. That is where the money math gets fun. Used 2021 Venzas can show up from the high teens into the mid-20s. And that is a big deal because the SUV feels richer inside than a lot of mainstream crossovers sitting in the same price band. In the garage, this is the SUV for the buyer who wants Toyota reliability but does not want to look at another bland crossover every morning. It rides quietly. The seats feel more comfortable than people expect, and the hybrid system makes stop-and-go traffic feel smooth instead of jerky. That is why this one is a goldmine. The market never gave the Venza the same resale heat as the RAV4 hybrid, even though the powertrain story is very close. Buyers pay extra for the more famous name, not always for the better daily experience. That means the Venza can be cheaper than it should be, and that discount comes from weak awareness, not weak engineering. It is better if you want fuel savings, a near-luxury feel, and Toyota-style long-term confidence. It is a great fit for drivers who want standard all-wheel drive and a calmer cabin without moving into true luxury prices. It is not better if you need maximum cargo room, because the sleeker shape gives up some utility. Inspection time is easy but important. Check the windshield carefully for cracks or stress issues because that repair gets expensive fast. Make sure there are no hybrid warning lights and the battery behavior feels normal. Test every screen, camera, and touch control because buggy tech becomes daily stress. Then drive it and pay attention to the braking feel. It should feel quiet, clean, and very smooth with no strange grabbing. If you like the Venza's calm hybrid value story, the next SUV is more common, more mainstream, and still gets overlooked because people keep shopping with the wrong priorities. If this straight talk saves you money, subscribe. We hunt cheaper SUVs, target proven years, and show the checks that stop expensive mistakes. Number 4. Mazda CX-5. This is the SUV people keep treating like a backup plan, and that mistake is exactly why the CX-5 becomes a goldmine. Buyers walk onto lots thinking CR-V first, RAV4 second, then use Mazda as the fallback. That thinking is why smart buyers win. We target the 2019 and 2020 non-turbo models because the naturally aspirated 2.5-liter four-cylinder and 6-speed automatic are the simple proven combo we want when cheap ownership matters more than brochure talk. This is one of those SUVs that feels better the longer you drive it. In the garage, this is the customer who comes in wanting something reliable, then leaves surprised that the steering feels sharper, the cabin feels richer, and the whole truck feels more solid than the usual safe choice crowd. A lot of compact SUVs feel fine on a 10-minute test drive, then start feeling cheap once you live with them. The CX-5 does the opposite. It feels tight, quiet, and composed in a way buyers do not expect in this price band. The 2019 uses a 2.5-liter four-cylinder with a 6-speed automatic, returns about 24 city and 30 highway in front-wheel drive form, and gives you the kind of normal mechanical setup mechanics trust. No belt drama, no tiny stressed motor pretending to be something bigger. Just a regular engine with a regular automatic that behaves as it should. Used 2019 examples usually land from the low teens into the mid-teens, depending on trim and miles. You are often paying less than similar CR-V and RAV4 money, even though the Mazda can feel more upscale from the driver's seat. It is better to drive, usually cheaper to buy, and often feels more expensive inside, but it is not the cargo king of the class. Check the headlights carefully, because lighting issues are annoying and not always cheap. Look at tire wear for uneven edges, because alignment neglect turns a good SUV into a costly catch-up project. Read the service history and look for calm ownership, because paper is proof and stories are not. Then drive it fully warm and make sure the naturally aspirated engine feels clean, smooth, and eager with no strange hesitation. If you want a used SUV that feels like an engineer made it instead of a committee, this is it. And if you think this Mazda is overlooked, wait until the next one, because it is a bigger Honda buyer's skip for the dumbest reason possible. Number 3. Honda Passport. This is the SUV most buyers skip because they see a Pilot on the same lot, stop thinking, and walk right past a real value play. It sits too close to another Honda in the lineup, so people do lazy math, decide the Pilot is the smarter family buy, and never notice that the Passport is often the better deal for buyers who do not need a third row. We target 2021 and 2022 because those years give you Honda's 3.5-liter V6, the 9-speed automatic, available all-wheel drive, and up to 5,000 pounds of towing. In all-wheel drive trim, it returns about 19 city and 24 highway, which is fair for a V6 midsize SUV with real muscle. In the garage, this is the truck for the buyer who wants more room than a CR-V, more comfort than a 4Runner, and less long-term stress than a Grand Cherokee. The Passport feels roomy, quiet enough for road trips, and far easier to live with than people give it credit for. Used 2021 pricing can dip into the high teens for higher mile examples, while cleaner trims usually sit in the low to mid-20s. That creates a weird market gap because loaded CR-V money can get you into a bigger V6 Passport. Buyers say, too expensive for a Honda, and that reaction is exactly why the used market softens faster than it should. They are paying attention to the badge, not the hardware. The Passport is better if you want real power, real towing, and a more relaxed cabin without paying body-on-frame money. It is not better if you actually need 7 seats every week because then the Pilot makes more sense. It is also not the champion for fuel economy. On the test drive, watch transmission smoothness at low speed because it should feel clean and predictable, not confused or jerky. Check brake feel because a mushy or grabby pedal turns comfort into stress fast. Test the infotainment and every driver assist feature you can because tech glitches are not catastrophic, but they are annoying. and they give you leverage. Look closely at tires and alignment too, because these bigger SUVs can hide expensive rubber bills behind one good deal price. If the Passport drives straight, shifts smoothly, and the systems behave, it is one of the easiest used midsize SUVs to recommend. And now, we get to the luxury badge with a Honda connection. Because number 2 scares budget buyers, even though the math underneath is friendlier than they think. Subscribe for Garage Truth. We compare badge hype, used pricing, and real weak spots, so you buy comfort without surprise repair bills. Number 2. Acura RDX. This is the luxury SUV that scares budget buyers because of the badge, and that fear is exactly what makes it such a smart buy. People see Acura, assume the parts and service must be expensive, then drift toward a mainstream SUV or an older Lexus because it feels safer. Meanwhile, the RDX quietly sits in the same price lane, offering more power, more upscale trim, and better used value math than a lot of shoppers realize. We target 2019 and 2020 because that generation gives you the 2.0-liter Turbo 4, the 10-speed automatic, front-wheel drive, or SHAWD, and a much better long-term story than the older 9-speed years. Fuel economy is roughly 22 city and 28 highway in front-wheel drive trim, or about 23 combined with all-wheel drive, which is respectable for a small luxury SUV with real punch. In the garage, this is the SUV for the buyer who wants leather, a premium cabin, and strong highway passing power, but does not want German ownership roulette. Buyers think they are playing it safe with a Lexus NX or moving up with a BMW X3 or Mercedes GLC, while the RDX often gives them friendlier used pricing and a more forgiving parts and service picture than those German options. Current used 2019 and 2020 pricing often lands in the high teens to mid-20s, depending on trim, miles, and whether SHAWD is in the mix. That puts it right in the same shopping zone as loaded mainstream SUVs and older luxury models, which is why this one feels like theft when you buy it right. It is better for buyers who want a luxury badge without going fully down the prestige rabbit hole. It is strong on value, quick enough to feel special, and roomy enough that daily life does not feel cramped. Some people never warm up to the touchpad infotainment, and if you hate that control layout, you will hate it every day. Check the touchpad and screen response first, because that is the feature people complain about most. Read the service history carefully, because clean maintenance is what separates a bargain from a burden. Inspect tire wear closely on SHAWD models, because uneven wear gets expensive quickly on premium rubber. Then do a full warm drive, and make sure the 10-speed stays smooth, responsive, and free of odd flare or hesitation. If the systems behave and the ownership story looks calm, this is one of the smartest used luxury adjacent buys on the market. That is why careful buyers get more luxury, less drama, and stronger long-term value than expected. And the crazy part is that number 1 is even less trendy, even less glamorous, and maybe the most forgotten bargain in the whole video. Before you leave, subscribe. We break down reliable, cheap SUVs, show the smart years, and give quick checks that protect your wallet. Number 1. Buick Envision. This is the SUV nobody talks about, nobody flexes, and almost nobody searches for first, and that is exactly why it is the biggest goldmine in this whole video. Buyers do not trust Buick as a modern SUV brand, so they drift toward the CR-V, the RAV4, the Equinox, the Tiguan, or some entry luxury crossover with a hotter badge and a weaker value story. Meanwhile, the right Envision sits there looking almost too calm, too normal, too easy to miss, and that is where smart money wins. We are targeting the 2019 and 2020 Envision with the 2.5-liter, 4-cylinder, and 6-speed automatic, because that is the cleanest version of this pitch. It gives you the simple setup, the steady road manners, and the kind of reliable ownership story this channel cares about. The naturally aspirated 2.5 avoids the extra complication of the turbo years. The 6-speed automatic is the more straightforward choice, and the numbers still make daily life easy enough. You are looking at about 22 city and 29 highway, which is more than fair for a compact SUV that feels this quiet on the road. When new, this line started at about $31,995, and used 2019 examples now tend to land mostly from the mid-teens into the low 20s, depending on trim, miles, and condition. That is the first reason this thing is a goldmine. The second reason is how it feels from the seat. Edmunds called out the quiet highway cabin, the comfortable seats, and the comfortable ride. And that is exactly the hook we want, because this Buick feels more expensive than its used price suggests. You shut the door, pull onto a rough road, and the whole thing feels more silent and more settled than a lot of shoppers expect from a used Buick. In the garage, this is the SUV for the buyer who wants calm miles, low stress, and a cabin that does not feel cheap every time he gets in. It is not trying to be sporty. It is not trying to impress your neighbor. It is trying to make your day easier, and for a lot of people, that is the whole point of an SUV. That is also why it gets ignored. Buyers chase what is popular, not what is smart. They assume Buick equals old, soft, and boring. Then pay more money for a more fashionable crossover that is not actually better at being a daily driver. I have seen this exact mistake happen on the lot. A buyer will drive something like a Taycan or a loaded compact crossover, come back talking about how new it feels, then sit in an Envision and get quiet because the seat feels better, the cabin feels richer, and the road noise drops. That silence is the whole story. The Envision is one of those rare used SUVs that does not need to shout its value. It just feels composed. It feels mature. It feels like the engineers were trying to lower your blood pressure instead of waking you up. That matters when your commute is 40 miles, when your back is not 20 years old anymore, and when you are sick of every pothole feeling like a personal attack. Another quiet win is the feature story. On the right trim, you get Apple CarPlay and Android Auto as standard equipment, plus the kind of easy daily usability that keeps an SUV from feeling dated. And here is the part most shoppers miss. Because Buick does not have the resale value of Toyota or Honda, depreciation hits harder early, which means you buy the comfort after someone else paid the premium. That is the gold mine. The first owner ate the loss, and you get the soft ride, the quiet cabin, and the easy daily manners for mainstream crossover money. That is why this one belongs at number 1, not buried in the middle. You are not buying this because it is the coolest thing in the school pickup line. You are buying it because it does the daily job with less noise, less drama, and less badge tax. Compare the Envision to the same money CR-V, RAV4, Tiguan, or even a lightly used entry luxury model, and the Buick often wins on ride comfort, highway quiet, and plain old value. It is better if you want a calm cabin, low drama, and used pricing that feels softer than it should. It is not better if you want sharp handling, big acceleration, or cargo bragging rights. This is a comfort play, not a canyon road hero. It is also not the pick for someone who shops with ego first. If you need your SUV to make a statement, you will not understand this one. But if you care about how the thing actually feels after 6 months of ownership, the Envision starts making a lot of sense. That is why the 2.5 and 6-speed years matter. We are not giving a blanket pass to every Envision ever made. We are picking the years that fit the title and the audience. Inspection time is where you keep this thing a gold mine instead of turning it into a guess. First, run the AC hard and let it sit, because weak cooling ruins the whole premium angle fast. Second, test the camera, the screen, and the infotainment response, because tech glitches are not catastrophic, but they are annoying and they give you bargaining power. Third, study the tires and the alignment story, because uneven wear turns a cheap deal into a costly one in a hurry. Fourth, drive it fully warm and make sure the engine feels clean, the idle stays smooth, and the transmission does not hunt or stumble. Also, listen over broken pavement and feel for any front-end looseness, because a tidy ride is part of this SUV's appeal, and a neglected example will tell on itself. If the powertrain feels stable, the cabin stays quiet, and the service history looks calm, this is one of the smartest ignored SUVs on the market. And that is the big money message of this whole video. The market keeps paying for what is popular, not what is actually smart, and that mistake is where patient buyers keep winning. Click the video on your screen. We will show the SUVs worth buying now, the years to target, and the mistakes that turn cheap deals costly. Subscribe to our channel and like this video.